And a very good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Cadet First Class Club here at West Point for another edition of This Week in Army Football. Back with you and heading up to a big game coming up on Saturday. The Black Knights on the road, SEC country in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, to take on number 19 LSU as we begin the second half of this 2023 Army football season. How about a This Week in Army Football welcome as we say the star of our show, fresh off the practice field, Army head coach Jeff Monken. Jeff, welcome.
Thank you,
back
Rich.
to the show.
Thanks, Rich.
Lots of excitement. You renew a rivalry. First meeting between Army and LSU, 1931 at Mikey's Stadium. Has to be exciting getting set to play this game.
It's a long time between games, but we're looking forward to the opportunity to play a great team and in one of the great stadiums. And it's exciting for our players. You know, these guys dream of playing college football and big-time college football, and one of the reasons they come and play at this level is to play against teams like this. So it truly is an opportunity to play against one of the great, iconic programs. I said earlier in the press conference this week that people talk about the teams that have a chance to win the national championship, and when you really look at the 133 teams that play at the FBS level, there are a group at the top of that 133 that have a chance. And if it's 10 teams or 12 teams or 15 teams or whatever it is, LSU is one of them. And they've obviously won a recent national championship, and they're always in the conversation. They're a well-coached team, incredibly athletic. Their stats are mind-blowing, and it's going to be a great challenge. But with that comes a lot of excitement and a great opportunity.
And we say number 19 LSU. Tigers open the season 5th in the country. They committed 4-2 on the year. And it's just interesting how you equate rankings, right? We go back a month ago, and a very good one, a great win for your team on the road against UTSA, which was a fringe top 25 team. They were just outside the top 25. You look at LSU, 7-8 spots higher maybe than UTSA was. And don't get us wrong, UTSA was a great football team. You watch the tape and look at the plays and the speed of LSU, it's like another level, Coach.
It is, and there are future NFL players all over the field, scattered on both sides of the ball. The quarterback is super dynamic. He's really good at throwing it. He's great on his feet. He's got an unbelievable supporting cast, a tremendous offensive line. They're one of only 2 teams in the country. Not to steal your thunder, you're probably going to throw out some stats, but this is really impressive. One of only 2 teams, them in Oregon, top 10 in rushing and top 10 in passing in the country. That's unheard of. So they are very explosive on offense.
And they got a quarterback who can do both of those things in Jaden Daniels. He not only is what the Associated Press called him the halfway Heisman Trophy winner through 6-7 weeks of this college football season, he can also run the football. And just the team speed, 2 NFL wide receivers, a great tight end. When you look at this team and you look at defending, where do you start?
Frankly, it's hard to pinpoint a particular player or a position group. The way we've got to play defense, and I think this is important, really, regardless of the level and who you're playing. Number one's got to start with being a good run defense. We got to stop the run and try to force teams to throw the ball and be one-dimensional. Very difficult to do. Coach Woody does a tremendous job with our defense, and he builds his defense on being a run-stop defense. And there's been a couple games this year we haven't done a great job of that, but it starts there, and then you've got to defend the field. You've got again, you can't commit everybody to the run, or you're playing zero coverage against NFL wide receivers. You can't drop 8 and just say we're going to take all the throwing away and try to keep everything in front of us. They're gonna run the ball and gain 8, 9, 12 yards a play and kind of move it down the field that way. So it's got to be a mix. There's got to be a lot of things that perhaps they're not accustomed to seeing from us, or some disguises. And that everybody's trying to do that. Everybody that plays these guys looks at them and says, how the heck are we going to stop them? And try to develop a plan, devise a plan to do that. So our guys have been practicing hard. I hope we can execute our plan, and we got to play good defense by playing good offense. And in some of these games that we've played against these powerful teams, we've been able to control the clock and run the football and limit possessions. And if you're going to have a chance to beat a team like LSU, you're going to have to do that too, play some defense with your offense.
And playing defense with your offense, just going back to last week's game, and a number of bright spots coming out from that game. And I think maybe none more on offense than the play of your fine freshman running back, Kanye Udo, 124 yards, had a rugby scrum run, not like the Jalen Hurts quarterback sneak that the Philadelphia Eagles do, but a legitimate carrying defenders, 15, 20 yards out of a 26-yard run. Kanye's performance, and what I love to see from where I sit, is the improvement from the preseason camp to week 1 to now, week 7. And to see Kanye Udo come on has been something special.
He's a very talented player, and we were really excited about him when we signed him. He spent the year in the prep school last year and had a good season for us, obviously running a different system, but I think this system really fits his skill set. And I believe he's got a pretty bright future with us, and hopefully we can keep him healthy. He'll continue to improve. He'll improve in the little things that he does, like blocking and with his vision. But you mentioned the rugby scrum run. It's a great effort on his part, but a great effort by our team. They just kept playing and kept pushing the pile, and unfortunately that was I think the longest play of the game. And there's a direct correlation to big plays, and Troy hit some big plays against us, and we didn't hit enough big plays, and so we've got to muster up some of those as well. But I'm excited about him. You know, there were a lot of young guys that were playing last week and playing in significant points in the game. It wasn't well, we're just going to put the freshman at the end of the game. Obviously, we had to put Champ in with the injury to Bryson. You got Toby Olawole out there playing wide receiver, Kanye carrying the ball in the backfield, Brady Small playing center. All those guys are freshmen. So there's some young guys out there playing, and I think for them, there's the most upside and potential for improvement is there with the younger guys.
And your evaluation of Champ Harris came in for the injured Bryson Daly early in the game. Bryson, it's really day-to-day this week, and he'll be on the trip coming up to LSU. But your evaluation of Champ Bailey being pressed into action there and seeing his first significant time as an Army quarterback.
Champ Bailey played for Georgia. But we got Champ Harris, but that's okay.
Harris, Champ Bailey.
He probably wouldn't mind being called that for that comparison.
You know what? I caught myself because during the game I said, I'm going to call him Champ Bailey. I know I'm going to call him Champ Bailey, and I stayed the whole game without it, and I just did it right now. But thank you for catching me.
Champ Bailey came to our camp at Georgia Southern when I was an assistant there with Paul Johnson.
Ooh.
He
Hall of Famer.
He was awesome then as a high school junior. You could tell he was going to be something special.
So Champ, your assessment of Champ playing his most significant time at quarterback?
Champ did a really good job for being thrust into the action like that, having to come off the bench. That's not easy. When you have a chance to prepare to be the guy and you know you're going to play, you're in this mindset. And as a backup, you're waiting, you're watching, you're listening to the coach, you're seeing all the adjustments that are going on the sideline, and then all of a sudden you're in the game. And I thought he responded very well. And for a guy that's a true freshman that was playing in high school a year ago, I thought he responded very well. And so I'm encouraged. He's super athletic. I think he's got a great career ahead of him. Certainly a lot of upside and a lot of room for improvement. And that's just coming weekly. And so with Bryson being day-to-day and getting some snaps and doing some things with us, we're having to use those other guys in practice, and that's been really good for them.
Brian Kelly, the head coach of the LSU Tigers. Jeff, someone you go back a long time with. Army's actually going to face Brian Kelly at his third different school. Central Michigan back in 2005, Notre Dame in both 2010 and 2016 at Yankee Stadium in the Alamo Dome, and now coming up on Saturday. I know you go back to his roots at Grand Valley State. You have a relationship with him going back.
I do. My cousin Todd was an assistant coach there at Grand Valley State for Tom Beck, who was the coach prior to Coach Kelly taking the job. But my cousin Ted, who's the younger brother of Todd, was playing for Coach Beck and then for Coach Kelly. So our family's got a little history there at that school. And so, as it turns out, when I was a young coach at GA, he had a job open on his staff. He interviewed me for the job. Didn't hire me that time, unfortunately, but I was just really impressed with him. Got to spend a day with him and talk film, and it's just a really smart coach, a brilliant guy, does a great job motivating his teams, and he's had success everywhere. I mean, just follow his career and all the schools you mentioned, Cincinnati and Notre Dame, and Notre Dame's winningest coach. I mean, that's an impressive stat. And so, hey, he's a really good man. He's doing a great job at LSU, and so got a terrific team he's coaching right now.
It took Notre Dame to the national championship game in 2012 and 2 trips to the college football playoff. Brian Kelly in his second season as LSU head coach. We're going to talk Army football here until 8 o'clock here at the Cadet First Class Club. We're streaming live on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Just drop your questions in the comments section of Facebook Live, and we'll get to as many as we can during tonight's show. And Corey on the wireless mic will have our questions, and if you're here at the Firsty Club, you can find her to ask your question as well.
Cool. Thank you, Rich, and good to see you, Coach. How are you?
You too, Corey.
Yeah, if you guys have questions, like Rich said, drop them in the comments, whether they be about the matchup versus LSU or the barbecue Coach will consume before or after the game. We want to hear them all, so let us know.
Oh, what is the post-game meal?
You know, that's a good question. I haven't checked closely on that, but I know Clayton and Aiden got it worked out. I know there's some barbecue on the menu somewhere.
And I know he listens. We have to get Clayton on the show again before the end of the year. I know he grudgingly came on, and he was a great guest last year, and you could tell how much it meant for him to be on the show.
No question.
Clayton, you're either listening now or you're going to listen on your way in tomorrow. You're coming back on the show this year. Coming up, our special guest, and Jeff, I know someone who has a special place in your heart as the head coach here at Army football, your fine quarterback who just rolled with everything and was always there for his team, and that's Cade Ballard.
What a great guy. One of my all-time favorites, coach's kid just like me, and so I'm glad he's still here working with us and working with the prep school team and doing a terrific job.
Well, we will have Cade Ballard on the show coming up in just a moment this week in Army football, live from the Cadet First Class Club. But before we go to break, a reminder, everyone watching, sign up for the new addition to This Week in Army Football, our Trivia Challenge. Scan the QR code on your screen now to enter for your chance to win 4 tickets to the Army Coastal Carolina game on November 18th at noon at Michie Stadium. Each question, a new QR code will appear to remind you, so please scan the code each time so we get your answers quickly and recorded properly. Last week's winner, Corey Ellick, second time winning.
So I think nice, Corey.
So obviously there's a fastest finger going on there.
No doubt
right?
about it.
So I respect that. Congratulations, Corey. Now our first question for the night. Now's your chance. Test your Army football knowledge. Scan the code. Number 19 LSU will be next in a number of AP-ranked opponents Army has faced over the years. When was the last time Army beat an AP top 25 team? Bonus if you know who it was against. Carefully worded question because I kind of got into it, disagreement about it.
Okay.
It has a little bit of a, so again, it's who was the last time Army beat an AP top 25 team? AP is the key.
Yep.
So scan the code, get your answer in This Week in Army Football. When we come back, Cade Ballard, our special guest right here on the Army Sports Network from Learfield.
This is like what you dream of, like when you're a kid.
You know, it's an opportunity that a lot of people dream of. Ever since I was a little boy, I started playing football when I was 3. Always dreamed of playing at LSU. I think it's going great. I think it's been a great experience. I've been learning every day, getting better every day, improving every week, just out here living my dream. I think I've improved a lot, taking a lot of mental reps, and then when I get out here maximizing the physical reps.
My performance so far has just been a lot of thanks to my coaches, putting in a lot of extra time, trying to be as attentive as possible at practice, working on the little things, fundamentals, just executing. Just everything. Where I want to be is a great player all around, so everything. Just keep on working, grinding out the fundamentals, grinding out all the little things that people really don't think about, like my steps, cutting, reads, everything.
Working on those drills, footwork, hands, eyes, just those little things that are going to help you win the one-on-one battles that you need.
Working on the fundamentals, we want to really maximize our opportunities that we get on each Saturday. So we just want to, come out here and, really be the best we can be. It's a great opportunity. It means a lot to the academy, everybody that we represent each Saturday that we sit up.
At the United States Military Academy, you're on the team from day one.
A team where people are the #1 priority and winning matters.
A team of scholars, athletes, and leaders, each striving to become all that they can be.
Are you ready to join our team?
West Point, where leaders are made.
Meet the Chevy ZR2 family. They'll never let you down. With features like DSSV dampers, MT tires, and an off-road performance display. When the going gets tough, it's a family you can count on. Introducing the Silverado, Colorado, and Silverado HD ZR2 family of trucks.
USAA? Yeah. They have awesome rates on coverage for our car, home, and stuff. She has a lot of stuff.
Dad.
A lot of cool stuff, honey. But USAA also has banking, credit cards, and loans. Plus advice and other perks.
Only for emergencies. Thanks, Mom.
And it's all in one spot. So we know she's all set because we've got USAA.
USAA, more than you might think, for the military community and their families.
He may not turn out to be a black belt or play Carnegie Hall.
He'll take the chicken fingers.
But with the money you earn from your PenFed checking and savings accounts,
He's growing up. Look at him.
your goal of supporting his dreams will always be worth it.
I got it.
PenFed's got great rates for everyone.
Audience ready in 5, 4, 3.
Back on This Week in Army Football here at the Cadet First Class Club. Eisenhower Hall Theater at West Point is back with a full season of entertainment. Enjoy Broadway musicals, plays, family-friendly shows for the little ones, and live concerts. Visit iCall.com. Save up to 20% with a season subscription. Get your tickets today at iCall.com. That's iCall.com. Time now for our special guest and someone who will always be remembered in the history of Army football. West Point class of 2023, and just a gritty quarterback, called on numerous times during his career with the Black Knights. How about This Week in Army Football? Welcome to Second Lieutenant, now an athletic intern at the prep school, Cade Ballard. Cade, welcome to This Week in Army Football. Really a joy to have Cade. And Jeff, when I say a fan favorite, I think there is so much to root for when Cade Ballard was on the field.
No doubt. And let me tell you, I'm rooting for this guy every time he was out there. He's one of my all-time favorites. And as I mentioned, he's a coach's kid. So Cade is he's one of the most accomplished quarterbacks in the state of Tennessee. You take all those guys that wore the orange for the Vols, there's nobody that's got more wins in that state than this guy right here. 30-0 as a starter as a high school quarterback. Two-time Mr. Tennessee in football, and just an incredible guy. And he was a competitor, smart football player. This meant so much to our program. Won football games here as a starter, but more than that, just was a great leader in that room and a great leader for the offensive unit. And now we got him. He's still here. He's still here working with us, and continues to help the program as the offensive coordinator for and the quarterback's coach for the prep school team.
Something tells me after a long and accomplished Army career, Cade Ballard will be a coach. Will find his way back to coaching. But Cade, great to have you here with us.
Thanks for having me. After that introduction, I don't know how I'm going to top that.
How does Mr. Tennessee end up coming to West Point to play football?
Sure. So I kind of always felt like I wanted to serve, but I tell you, I had a lot of options coming out of high school. As Coach said, I was blessed and put in a really good situation in high school to be successful. And coming out of high school, a lot of options, like I said. And then when I came up here on my official visit and met Coach Monken and met the people that you're going to be around every single day, let me tell you, I'd never felt that feeling before, and I'd been on several more visits before that. But when I came here, it was kind of a stopping ground for me. It was, I knew this place was going to be home for 4 years, and I wanted to play for the best coach in college football, and I truly mean that, and I still mean that.
Oh, he is the best coach in college football. There isn't a doubt.
Absolutely.
Honestly. So I'll tell you, when I think of Cade Ballard, I think of one of my favorite games here at Army. This is my 20th football season, right? One of my favorite ever games, 2020 season at UTSA. And that was...
That's
what happens
one for the
that
ages
day, that
right there.
morning? Like what happens leading into that game? You're a tough team to play. And remember, they had some fans there during COVID, right? It was Texas, right? So how did that week lead in? And then it's you and Tyre, and just take me through it from your perspective of going into that game, being like, hey, we might use 4 quarterbacks, we might use 2. None have really ever taken a significant snap.
Well, from my perspective, it was not a normal week for us. CA, Christian Anderson, he'd gone down, Jabari, Tyre. I mean, we were kind of all backed up. And I remember on that Tuesday practice, I'd been running with a scout team trying to give the best look for the defense. And in warm-ups, I think CA went down at the end, and Coach Ware looked at me. He's like, "You ready to get some burn today? Because you're going to run the show." Who'd been paying attention to meetings, and thank goodness I had been and trying to prepare that way. And I got yanked over there with the offense all day, and we had a pretty good day on offense. But leading into that week, you're like, like Coach said earlier, you're not really preparing to be that guy. You never know when that opportunity will come. And when it did, I'm glad I prepared. And me and TT kind of all week figured we'd be 50-50, something like that. And we went down there and just kind of put everything on the table and said, let's ride. And a great group of seniors at the time, supported us, and we played our butts off, and everybody around us played our butts off. We took care of the football, and we won that game.
Jeff, for your perspective, how it led in that week, how did you feel about Cade, TT out there on that Saturday?
No, and that's kind of how it happened. But here's the thing about these guys here and the guys in our program, and Cade Cade Ballard was going to be ready when his number was called. He's not one that sits in the meeting room and, doodles on the paper or just, the noise is going in one ear and out the other. He's paying attention, and he's getting himself ready. And that's just the kind of competitor that he is. So I didn't have any doubt from the standpoint of knowing his assignments, understanding the reads, knowing what we want to accomplish on certain plays, the looks that we want to get, the checks that are going to come if we're not getting that look. He would be ready. He just hadn't played any significant snaps since he had been in high school, nor had Tyler
Yeah, like
at that
one
point.
snap, I want to say. One snap Tyler had.
But these guys were competitors. But more than that, there was something going on with that team that year, that group of seniors, coming off of a disappointing 2019 season. That group of seniors was determined, and I didn't have any doubt that the rest of the guys were going to rally around these young quarterbacks and help them do their job and take some pressure off of Cade and TT so that they could just play. And that's just what happened. And our guys battled, and it was a tough, hard-fought victory. Our team just went down there and won the football game. It wasn't by luck. There wasn't a crazy play at the end. We went down there and earned the victory, and so it's one I'll remember for a long time. It was a tough, hard-fought game by our team, and it was a great celebration in the locker room after that game.
That was like the greatest season I'd never want to go through again, right? I mean, with everything. So, Cade, obviously, to us, the UTSA game means so much. How about to you? What memories stick out when you think of your time in an Army football uniform?
Well, that one definitely sticks out for sure, just because of how odd that whole year was, and then getting thrown into the fire like that and coming out with a victory. I'll never forget at the end of that game in particular, me and Coach Monken kind of did the post-game thing, and we kind of walked back, and we were talking to each other the whole way back, just kind of the journey we'd been on that year so far, like kind of my recruiting and talking about my dad a little bit and stuff like that. And then as soon as I got in the locker room, it opened up, and it was like a tsunami of people coming at us. And Coach Monken grabbed me by the back of the shoulder pads and threw me as hard as he could into it. And me and Tyre ended up on top of the dang ceiling by the end of it. But that was a good one, and so was the Army-Navy game last year. That was a really good one.
That was a tremendous game. And
yep.
So take us through what you're doing. You mentioned you're getting some coaching done here during the beginnings of your second lieutenant tenure. Take us through your role at the prep school.
Yeah, so like Coach Monken said, I'm in charge of the quarterbacks there. I'm also teaching or an assistant instructor in a MCD class to kind of prepare the cadet candidates, make sure character-wise they're developing, and when they get down here that they have no issues and they abide by the standards and know what the standard is. But on the football field, we're with the new offense, and we're installing every day, and I'm trying to develop those guys. That's my job, is to get those guys in our room down there as close to being sophomores in the program as they can be when they step on campus next year for Coach Monken, and let them get out there and hopefully be able to compete and make some plays in camp and go from there for them.
Jeff, would you like to have Cade Ballard on staff one day?
100%. So he's gonna serve his time in the Army, and I know he's gonna be a coach. If it doesn't matter what this guy does, he's gonna be successful at it. But I know he'll be a great coach. So hopefully I'll have a chance to hire him someday. He'll probably have job offers making so much money I can't afford him.
But that's true. Well, Cade, thanks for so many memories and such a time here at West Point, going through so much, and now everything you're doing at the prep school, not only to prepare candidates, to help the team and install offenses, all that good stuff, and your connection to Army football. Thanks, Cade, for a couple minutes.
Thank you all.
That is Cade Ballard, West Point class of 2023, second lieutenant, former Army football quarterback. Okay, so Cade, thank you for joining the show. Now on to question 2 of the Trivia Challenge. Cade Ballard recently graduated this past May, capping off his career with a win over Navy. Who did he score his first career touchdown against? We can't answer it. You can't answer it, John.
Can't answer, but I do know the answer.
I know. I think I know the answer, too. So who did Cade Ballard score his first touchdown against? Scan the QR code, submit your answer quickly, and we'll have more. We'll have your questions on This Week in Army Football. Coming back on the other side here from the Cadet First Class Club at West Point, right here on the Army Sports Network from Learfield.
When pain wants to keep you on the sidelines, know you have options to keep you doing what you love. As one of the world's leading medical technology companies, Stryker offers innovative foot and ankle products that help you get back in the game and on your feet. Stryker and Army West Point Athletics have joined forces to help you learn more about foot and ankle pain and provide you resources so you can find a specialist in your area. Visit Stryker.com/WestPoint to learn more.
October 13th, 1962.
Back to the point to meet the team that was acclaimed at season's end, the best in the East, Penn State. A little hope for the underdog Army team, all the critics agreed.
Army hosted number 3 Penn State. A week after falling to Michigan, the Black Knights would bounce back in a low-scoring defensive affair against the Nittany Lions. After the teams traded field goals in the first half, Penn State drove inside the Army 10 early in the third quarter, but the Black Knights defense held, forcing a field goal attempt. Alan Scott blocked it, and Army got some momentum back. Later in the period, Penn State would again drive inside the Army 10, but the Black Knights defense forced another field goal attempt. This one was good, and the Nittany Lions took a 6-3 lead going into the fourth quarter. Penn State then appeared to be on their way to a victory until a fumble at their own 19-yard line, which was recovered by Army's Tom Kearns. Quarterback Art Lewis then hit Dick Peterson for the winning score as Army came back to defeat the number 3 Nittany Lions 9-6.
Yeah, USAA. They always have my back.
USAA? You were in the military?
Oh, no, I wasn't, but my grandpa was. He joined USAA, passed membership to my mom, then to me.
There's other ways to get in?
Yeah. My neighbor Ron, he's in because his wife served. Even little Luna, once she's born, her dad served.
So all this time I could have had USAA insurance.
And banking.
Where's my phone?
Over there.
USAA, for the military community and their families.
And welcome back to This Week in Army Football, brought to you by West Point Family and MWR. FMWR offers horse sporting, golfing, skiing, catering, camping, and many more activities and programs. Visit westpoint.armymwr.com for more information. Back on This Week in Army Football. I want to start this segment with a story I had heard this week. Spent some time on the podcast of Chris Blair, who is the play-by-play announcer for LSU, and I think does a terrific job at what he does. And we spent a fair amount of the podcast talking about you, Jeff.
Yeah.
And just about his time being the Georgia Southern play-by-play voice when you were there. And he shared, went through, hey, coach, demands everyone, doing their best. Went through, the usual things. But said, now again, that last year at Georgia Southern for you, the upset of Florida in the swamp in an SEC stadium. And he said a couple of years ago he gets a note, and it's a coin that you had made with the Georgia Southern logo on one side, the score on the other side, and just you had hunted down the addresses for everyone associated with the team and sent them that coin to thank them for all that game had done for Georgia Southern, for you personally, and for them. And he was saying how the radio crew was all from that year was all over the country, and each one of them got that. That's some story.
Well, we were there for 4 seasons, and all. I mean, those were great seasons, and I had just a great experience at Georgia Southern. Made some great friends. Chris Blair is an incredible guy. He did a tremendous job for us at Georgia Southern as our play-by-play, and so happy for him to have the opportunity to go to LSU. And I know they love him down there. But that last season, so we the coin was for the 2010 season. I sent those out to all of the seniors that were part of that 2010 team, and then all the coaches, Chris Blair, the radio crew, our president of the university, the athletics director, because that year in 2010, we won 10 games. We were 10-5. We started out the season 4-4. We went on a 6-game run all the way to the semifinals of the national playoffs in FCS. And
tough loss that year.
It was a tough loss. We didn't win the conference championship that year. And when you go to the semifinals in the FCS playoffs, there's no trophy for that. So our guys played that whole season, a 10-win season to the semifinals. You don't get a ring, you don't get a trophy, you don't get a watch. Really, there was nothing. We were disappointed. The guys that came back the next year won the conference championship and got a championship ring. The next year we won the conference championship, they got a championship ring. But for those seniors that invested so much, and I think we had 9 seniors was all on that team. I really wanted them to have something to remember that season because it was a special season, and we came together as a unit, came together as a team, and so I had a coin forged Had it done right here up at the PX at West Point. And they're beautiful. And so I sent those out with a letter, and just it was the 10-year anniversary. So I sent them 3 years ago, the fall of 2020. So the 10-year anniversary of that season, and so I was really happy to be able to do that and proud to be able to do that, and so I'm glad Chris cherishes that corner.
Great guy, Chris Blair. So we have Army and LSU coming up on Saturday night, 7:30 kick time Eastern, 6:30 at the Swamp Tiger Stadium. Airtime across the Army Sports Network, 5:30 Eastern with the Army Football Tailgate Show. Time now for your questions for Army head coach Jeff Monken. Facebook Live, drop them in the comments section. We're also on YouTube Live tonight. Corey, first question of the night.
All right, Coach. This one is from Carrie Campbell. She said, I know the focus is on LSU, of course. But with the late start, will you or someone from your staff be able to watch/scout at least part of the Air Force Navy game?
Well, we're at the hotel. There's some downtime in the afternoon before we go to the stadium, so I'm sure that everybody on our team's going to kind of be clued into that game. It's obviously those are two big rivalries for us, and so we'll be watching with a vested interest. We'll have other things that we've got to do, meetings and walkthroughs and those kinds of things, and certainly that takes precedence. But we'll get our eyes on that a little bit. What we do have is film of that game that we get, the sideline and end zone copies of that game, and we'll be able to watch that in earnest when we get ready to play them.
I'm going to find a place to go to lunch. I think the radio crew are going to find a place to go to lunch to watch that game before we show up 4 hours before kicker. So that's going to be a lot of fun, that game on Saturday. Corey, next question for Coach Monken.
Okay, Coach. This one is from Steve Rothhaupt. He said, Coach, we know that Army has strength and conditioning coaches. He was wondering if there are nutritionists, and do the players have special diets?
We do have a nutritionist, and our nutritionist has some AIs that assist her. She does a tremendous job along with our strength staff and training staff. We cater in all of our meals. We frankly try to get those guys stuff that they like, that they'll eat, trying to keep their weight up. But we do offer very healthy snacks. We've got a nutrition center that's part of our strength and conditioning center, and we offer nutritious snacks, fruits, vegetables, low-fat meals, heavy protein drinks, and opportunities to get more proteins that sometimes they don't seek out on their own. So some of it is for health, and they say some of it's good for your health and some of it's good for your soul. And so we try to feed those guys things they like, but also get them the things that they need. That's
Jeff,
a good question.
That's a great question. We talk about nutrition. Of course, there's the nutrition bar inside the weight room at the Kimsey Center. How do you translate that on a road trip, right? So you still have by the time we take off tomorrow, that's almost 30 hours before kickoff. Is there any implementation of things with the diet once you arrive?
Our strength staff and training staff, along with our director of football operations and chief of staff, work through all the menus and what we're going to feed those guys leading up to the game. And certainly in the days and where we travel and the hours leading up to the game, we really do control the kinds of foods that we serve them. So they have the healthy foods that are going to help them perform the best. That's what's offered to them. But some of it we take with us, but the rest then the hotel where we stay is able to provide that for us.
Next question, this segment for Coach Monken.
All right, Coach. This one is from Anthony John, our loyal listener, Anthony. He said, given the results of the last 3 games, what are some of the bright spots that you and the staff have noticed?
So there's been some great individual performances, some big plays, and some guys that have really stood out and I think played very well. Each game is different, and the last 3 games we played, all very good opponents, and certainly this stretch of games, UTSA, Syracuse, Boston College, Troy, and now LSU. That's 5 games. Within that group is 2 reigning conference champions. So UTSA had won the Conference USA championship 2 years in a row. Troy won the Sun Belt championship a year ago, and you got 3 Power 5 teams. Those are 5 really healthy, formidable opponents. But we've played some really good football in that stretch. Obviously, I thought we played a complete game and a really good game against UTSA. We played a terrific first half against Syracuse, and even in recognizing some things in that first half where we had opportunities and weren't able to capitalize. And then the second half of the Boston College game, we had ourselves positioned to win the game. They obviously made some plays, and we didn't. Had some opportunities to make some plays that we didn't make. So I think there's been some positives. Troy is a heck of a football team, and they just beat our pants off last week. And I wish we would have played better and could have played better, certainly. But I see things each week that we're getting better at. The offense, I knew there was going to be some growing pains with it. Never anticipated that we'd get shut out by Troy, but if that's part of the growing pains, it is. But we're committed to what we're doing, and we're going to continue to improve. So I'm excited about the things we're doing, the improvements we're making, what we're learning as we go through the process. And the best thing I can say about our team is they are battling their butts off every week. Our guys give a tremendous effort. They care. They love each other. They love representing this institution in the Army. They're tough, and they won't quit fighting. And you see that week in and week out. No matter what's going on in the game, those guys are fighting all the way through.
Well said, Jeff Monken. Before we go to break, our next trivia question of the night. Army football has had a number of great college coaches work at West Point. What national championship winning LSU head coach coached at Army?
I know that one.
I know that one too.
Yep.
It's a good one.
It is a good one.
Ryan Panny, terrific questions again tonight. So think about that one. We'll come back. More questions for Army head coach Jeff Monken right here on This Week in Army Football, live from the Cadet First Class Club, right here on the Army Sports Network from Learfield.
Play for each other. Look left, right, play for each other. Play our game.
We just compete against ourselves. We perform to what we're capable of. We know what to do. We go out, we execute.
At the United States Military Academy, you're on the team from day one.
A team where people are the #1 priority and winning matters.
A team of scholars, athletes, and leaders, each striving to become all that they can be.
Are you ready to join our team?
West Point, where leaders are made.
Meet the Chevy ZR2 family. They'll never let you down. With features like DSSV dampers MT tires, and an off-road performance display. When the going gets tough, it's a family you can count on. Introducing the Silverado, Colorado, and Silverado HD ZR2 family of trucks.
Or 3. Army West Point Athletics would like to thank its restaurant and tavern partners, Brothers Barbecue and O'Toole's Pub. Check out the restaurant and tavern partners portion of GoArmyWestPoint.com for more information. Support those who support the Corps. Moving right along on This Week in Army Football. I'll tell you, time goes by when you're having fun.
That's what they say.
We got 2 more segments of questions. Let's get right to them. Corey, next question for Coach.
All right, Coach. This one is from Kevin Ryan. He said, in your coaching career, have you ever coached against a Heisman contender thus far?
Kyler Murray in 2018 when we played at Oklahoma. Yes. What a great player. And that was one great football game. Unfortunately, we came up short in overtime. But I don't know. Do you know of any others?
I would say Deshaun Kaiser, Notre Dame at the Alamo Dome in 2016. Right, he was thought about. I mean, that was a November game, so maybe it was.
How about when we played Ohio State? Think about those guys. Penn State. We played some good teams, haven't we? But I know Kyler Murray. I remember him running down our sideline.
Saquon Barkley at Penn State. He was hurt. He was like banged up because he'd hurt his knee.
I remember that run that Kyler Murray had down our sideline, and I kind of leaned out and I watched him go, and I thought there was smoke coming off of his shoes. I mean, that guy could fly.
No, he could.
Yep.
And I'm trying to think. No, one kind of abstract one was the game, the 2 bowl games, 17 and 18. Rashad Penny. Now it was after the Heisman, but he had a great year.
Yes.
And Ed Oliver was maybe the top defensive player in the country. He didn't play in that bowl game. He opted out. So, I mean, there's definitely been some great college players.
No doubt.
You've been able to match up against. Next question for Coach Monken.
All right, Coach, this one is from Kieran Stack. He said, can you describe a travel day for the team? Will you practice when you get to LSU?
So we used to do a workout when we got to the location. And a few years ago, I changed that, just looking at the sports science and how our guys can perform best. We started to practice here before we travel. So that's what we'll do on Friday, is we'll get a workout here. We'll practice on our practice fields. Get our guys a little something to eat, get on the bus and head up to Stewart, get on the plane, fly to Baton Rouge. Once we get there, we take our team straight to the hotel and get them a little meal, get them some downtime so they can rest. And then in the evening, we have a team meal that we all eat together. We have meetings that includes a team meeting, special teams, the unit meetings that we have for offense and defense, and then get them to bed. And then on Saturday, on game day, that changes depending on the kickoff time, but with an evening kickoff like we have, we'll have a chance to have some meetings and walkthroughs with our guys in the mornings between the meals, and then we'll give them some downtime where they can get some rest, and then we bus over to the stadium and take on the LSU Tigers.
Should be a lot of fun. Last segment coming up in just a moment here on This Week in Army Football, but first, the final question for tonight's show. Army and LSU have faced off once in both their programs' long histories. When was the first and last time Army played LSU? Bonus, who won? You know that one.
If everybody was listening, you gave them a hint at the very beginning.
We give all these answers, right? Scan the QR code, submit your answer, be quick, be correct, and we'll see.
I know that one, Rich.
I think we know all 4 of them. You knew the first one, right?
No, the first one I don't have. That's got me stumped.
Okay. Well, we'll get to those answers.
Okay.
One more round of questions coming up in just a moment right here on This Week in Army Football, right here on the Army Sports Network from Learfield.
When pain wants to keep you on the sidelines, know you have options to keep you doing what you love. As one of the world's leading medical technology companies, Stryker offers innovative foot and ankle products that help you get back in the game and on your feet. Stryker and Army West Point Athletics have joined forces to help you learn more about foot and ankle pain and provide you resources so you can find a specialist in your area. Visit Stryker.com/WestPoint to learn more.
Coming out here, playing against North Dakota, playing against Bemidji, already played against Union. These are games that, as a result of playing them, we're going to be a better team because of it, especially as we get into league play.
For the first time ever, the Cadets have come to the rally. Army and North Dakota have only played each other once in hockey. They've come together tonight as part of the Icebreaker Tournament. This annual event marks the traditional start to the college hockey season. The Cadets have participated in the Icebreaker twice before, and they now have the second youngest team in the country. However, as often heard at West Point, no excuse served. Joey Baez has brought Army back level with UND.
Good chance, and they score here. Ricky Lyle, the captain, and the Black Knights now back within 3.
Hewitt brings it back. High slot. Hewitt moves in. Fire skate! A tremendous individual effort. He slaloms and scores, and Army leads Bemidji State 1-0.
We're still trying to create an identity of who we are, and playing against North Dakota, and obviously tonight, I think we took a big step, and I think this experience will help us as we get ready to get into our own league play.
Audience ready in 5, 4, 3.
Back on This Week in Army Football, Army at LSU, the number 19 team in the country, coming up on Saturday night, Death Valley Tiger Stadium, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 7:30 Eastern Time kick. Airtime across the Army Sports Network, 5:30 with the Army Football Tailgate Show. And we got time for maybe 2 more questions. So let's get right. This show has flown by, Corey.
It always does, you know? It always does. All right, this one is from Dan Koch, Coach. He said, Daly is the first Army QB since 1956 with 3 passing TDs and 2 rushing in the same game. How do you plan to develop his game further as he heads into his senior year next season?
That's a good trivia question for next week.
That is.
Ryan Panny's going to work on that one next week.
For sure. He's such a great kid, and he's a tough player. You watch that guy play. He's one of those gritty guys that we've won with here and had a lot of success with in recent years. And this offense obviously is new for everybody. New for him, new for the guys that are his supporting cast, and they're going to all continue to get better. He's going to get more comfortable in the offense. He's going to get more comfortable with the reads and just how it all fits together. And you'd like for that to happen overnight. But it hasn't happened overnight. But that guy has improved as the season's gone along. I love the way he runs the ball tough. He's a physical runner. It's almost like an old school fullback running the football. And I think beyond that, throwing the touchdown passes and making plays for us, doing other things, that's going to improve. He's gonna become a complete quarterback the more he does this.
Okay, we have 30 seconds of questions. One last question, Corey. I want to squeeze one more in.
Okay, one more. This one's from Shannon Wallen. She said, do you have any favorite game day traditions?
You know what? I'm not superstitious at all. I followed a plan. We got a schedule we keep our guys on, and I like to be on that schedule. And one of my favorite things is just to go to the stadium and be a part of a team. And what a great way to earn a living and have as a profession. So it's all I've ever wanted to do. So love game day.
No doubt about that. Thank you, Corey. Great job tonight. Okay, trivia challenge. Okay, we've heard all the trivia questions. Now is your chance, Jeff, to give us the answers. Number 19, LSU, will be the next in a number of AP-ranked opponents Army has faced over the years. When was the last time Army beat an AP top 25 team? Bonus, who was it against?
That was in 2016, Navy. And I hate to say that.
You got to listen to the question, Coach. They were 25th in the college football playoff poll. Last AP top 25, Air Force. In 1972, Air Force was 19. But that was the first year of the Commander-in-Chief's Trophy, which Army won. Beat Air Force, then beat Navy. Cade Ballard recently graduated this past May, capping off a career with a win over Navy. Who did he score his first touchdown against?
UTSA.
One of the great memories.
It was.
2020. Great memory.
Pounded that thing in there.
Army football has had a number of great college coaches work here at West Point. What national championship winning LSU head coach coached at Army?
Paul Dietzel.
That's right. After he had coached LSU.
That's right.
And Billy Cannon to the national championship. Ended up leaving for Army and ended up going back as athletic director. And then Army and LSU have met once before. When was it?
What was that year? Tell me.
1931.
That's right. We mentioned it. Army won 20-0.
I thank you, everyone, for watching, listening. Steve Tucker leading Army West Point Sports Property. Skylar and Jimmy here. Andy in the studio. Ryan Panny setting up for Cade Ballard, Corey, Coach Monken, Rich DeMarco saying so long.